I am a Sable main, said the entire DBD community. ... Today we're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to do Sable Ward's top 3 builds based off of her lore. So we are going to do something a little special. We're actually going to read Sable Ward's lore together before we get into the 3 builds. So check the timestamp below if you want to hop straight to the builds. But if you don't and you would like something more slow and enjoyable, let's start off with Sable Ward's lore. All right. Sable figured she had to be adopted. No way was she the progeny of her insanely perky mom and her grinning golf-playing frat boy dad. They didn't understand the first thing about her. No one in Greenville did, except for Michaela. They were fast friends since 3rd grade. Up until then, Sable had no friends. She wasn't into ponies or dolls or tea parties with teddy bears. She liked bugs, lizards, riding bikes, dirt clawed bites. Her favorite her favorite holiday was Halloween, and Michaela was the only one who didn't think she was crazy when she dyed her hair purple in the 8th grade. Sable's mom was furious. Her dad didn't even notice Michaela went with her to the mall when she got her ears pierced and helped her pick out her first tattoo. An occult symbol. Ooh. An occult symbol hidden in a place her parents would never see. Michaela declined to get her own tattoo. She flirted with the dark side, but she didn't live it. Not like Sable. The dark side made sense to Sable, and she reveled in it. Partly because it freaked out her parents and teachers, partly because it felt like who she was. Some called her goth because of her presented ways. But she wasn't into labels. She loved horror movies and found the occult exciting. It made sense to her. She knew that the shiny suburban world of her mom and dad had a dark underbelly. They were afraid to confront their fear, so they pretended everything was perfect and that they would live forever. But Sable knew better. Death stalked us all, and no one was getting out alive. Michaela got Sable a job at Moonstone, probably the only place in town that would have hired her. She took classes at the local college and produced a guerrilla radio show on the short wave in her attic. All Things Wicked this night was about the world's dark underbelly, the occult urban legends, horror. And often there were heated discussions with Michaela about horror movies they'd catch at the only theater in Greenville. Michaela liked her horror with a little comedy, but Sable liked it meaner, scarier, bloodier. She relished in the gore, enjoyed the terror. She liked to feel the adrenaline rush, and their debates were entertaining to say the least. When searching for inspiration for her show, Sable would take walks in the cemetery with all the statues and headstones of early settlers who had founded the town as a sanctuary for those escaping persecution. She often talked about that history on her show, and she formed a theory that the uncanny sightings and disappearances were somehow linked to the town's history. One caller suggested the town was built on top of a fracture. The caller went on to describe the fracture as an overlap between worlds. Another caller said these fractures were created by an ancient cult devoted to forgotten demons. Another caller defined fractures as a cosmic buffet for an elder god that fed on pain, fear, and misery. And one caller even argued that it wasn't a fracture but the unknown, a mysterious creature that consumed anyone who dared to imagine it. All the theories made for fun and inspiring debates, and she loved nothing more than to discuss real-life horror until the horror became personal. One evening, Sable had challenged Michaela to tell a real horror story at Moonstone's annual Halloween festival. Scare the crap out of people. Stop dancing around the horror and embrace it. Tell a story about the unknown. Make them imagine it. Make them believe the unknown will show up on stage. Nothing terrifies an audience more than a show that could potentially kill them. Michaela laughed at the idea and declined the challenge because she was working on another story with her roommate. But a strange black fog had taken Michaela during her performance, and Sable felt the icy hand of guilt grab her by the back of her neck. She was convinced that she had somehow sent Michaela to her doom. Did the unknown take her? Did she try to find the unknown? What about her roommate? Her roommate disappeared as well. But then she realized Michaela's story wasn't about the unknown. It was about something else, another dimension, a dimension filled with terrifying creatures, sadistic killers, and endless horror. This was not the unknown. With this realization, Sable began to investigate other disappearances in Greenville. Before long, she realized most of the disappearances occurred at the theater or somewhere close by. Investigating further, she discovered that the theater was built on the ruins of an old one-room schoolhouse that had burned to the ground in the 1920s. Somehow, the students couldn't get out, and everyone perished in the flames. Feeling close to an answer, she continued her research and discovered two teenage brothers had recently disappeared from the theater, Elias and Ilan. The only witness, their younger sister Ellen, was committed to an institution after ripping her eyes out. Ooh. And so, pretending to be a relative, Sable went to talk to Ellen, who admitted she and her brothers had been trying to steal old movie posters from the storage room behind the movie screen. She then described a secret door in the basement and a passageway that led to another place, a dark place, a cold place, an evil place. Stay away from there, she begged. Stay away. But Sable wasn't about to stay away. Not after that story. Determined to see Michaela again, Sable hitched a ride to the theater and soon found the door behind the movie screen. In the darkness, she gibbered the door opened it with a crowbar, and headed down a creaking wooden stairway to the dank cellar. A light switch activated, flickering, filled with a broken theater set and old movie posters dating back 80 years. She searched the sprawling basement and found a thick wooden door hidden behind a poster of the original Frankenstein. She pushed and shoved in the door open to reveal an endless circular staircase descending into perfect darkness. Using a penlight to navigate, she descended for 10 minutes before she noticed the cold, black fog rising from the lower depths, the same cold black fog that had taken Michaela. Sable considered running back up the stairs to where she would be safe. But then she thought about the terrifying creatures and the sadistic killers and the endless horror, and she quickly decided she wasn't going to let her best friend have all the fun. Okay guys, so basically Sable Ward just sounds like this dark, goth, badass chick who loves horror movies, who loves getting closer to all things wicked and evil, and also feels a little bit of guilt about Michaela getting taken to the fog. So we've got this little bit of a savior redeemer, wants to go help Michaela, but also wants to just go where all the action and the horror is. So the builds we've got for Sable are, first of all, the movie theater build. So Sable seems like someone who loves the darkness and everything about all things wicked and evil. So this is the See All Evil build, guys. Alert. Every time the killer performs a break action, we will see the killer's aura for 5 seconds. This is going to turn DBD into a little bit of a horror movie because we will basically just be watching the killer all game. Dark sense when a gen pops. Next time the killer's within 24 meters of us, we will see the killer's aura for 10 seconds. Wiretap. When we do half a gen, we could put a wiretap on a gen, which will reveal the killer's aura around that generator within 14 meters to us and all survivors. And inner focus, which I like. A slept on perk, but lets us see our own teammates' scratch marks, which is kind of fitting into the lore of us looking for Michaela and investigating. But also, when another survivor loses a health state within 32 meters of us, we'll get to see the killer's aura for 5 seconds as well. So we've got this build that's basically about getting close to evil. This is going to let us see all the darkness and all the killer's actions all game long, and I think it suits Sable's lore pretty damn well. So now the second build is gonna be the Wicked build, guys. So Wicked is Sable's new perk, which lets us unhook ourselves in the basement always, but also whenever we are unhooked or unhook ourselves, we get to see the killer's aura for 20 seconds. So again, tying into that, we really like to see the evil and the killer's auras kind of thing. But we have Wicked, which lets us unhook ourselves. So if we ever get hooked in the basement, we're safe with this build because we can just, jump out of there, no problem. We're also using Deliverance, which will activate after we do a safe hook rescue on another survivor. This will give us a 100% chance of unhooking ourselves anytime. So we can combo Deliverance with Wicked. We'll unhook ourselves and we'll get to see the killer's aura for 20 whole seconds after we do the unhook. So kind of a win-win. We got 2 perks that let us unhook ourselves, which is actually kind of cool. And the first time I've ever seen such a thing in Dead by Daylight. Also, empathy to see our injured teammates. I think this fits in with the whole part of her trying to kind of find Michaela and make sure she's okay. So empathy will show us our injured teammates to us at all times, and since we're on the path of redemption, we'll make it. Whoever we unhook, since we will be unhooking for Deliverance, will give us a boost of 100% extra healing speed, so that way for the next 90 seconds we can heal our teammates in twice the speed. And since we have empathy, we'll be able to go reset our teammates quicker. So we've kind of got this altruistic, I'm going to save you build, but also we can weasel out of a dark spot as well. And then the last thing I noticed about Sable is that she's a bit scrappy. She wants to get knee deep in the thick of things, and I think this is the build for her scrappy side. Overcome. After she takes a hit, we will get our movement speed bonus for 2 extra seconds, and then we'll become exhausted. So this gives us the chance to make a huge distance and run away from the killer while we're in chase. We're comboing this with the classic Lucky Break. Whenever we're injured, this activates for 60 seconds. For the next 60 seconds, we will not leave any scratch, mark, or trails of blood. So when you get hit with Overcome and Lucky Break, you are actually going to be able to run very far without leaving any scratch marks or blood for the killer to track you, which will actually be good and allow us to get away from the killer. So now the object is, once we take a hit, we get away from the killer and then we make for our basement. So we're going to use Strength and Shadows actually, instead of Self-Care. So this lets us basically do self-care and heal ourselves at 70% the normal speed in a basement. And when we finish healing in the basement, we'll get to see the killer's aura for 10 seconds as well. So the whole point of this build is to take a hit and run for the basement, wherever the basement's at. We're going to be bringing an add-on with this build, the Annotated Blueprint, so we can always spawn the hatch. Oh, actually, this is the wrong one. I mean, we're going to be bringing the... Hold on, there we go. Reveal the aura of the basement hooks at the start of the trial. So that way we can see where the basement is at the start of the game and always know where to go, okay? Just kidding. Just kidding. But yeah, we're gonna be bringing Torn Blueprint with us so we can see where the basement's at. So we know where we need to go. So the idea is take a hit, slip away from the killer, use Strength and Shadows to heal up in the basement. And then we've got Bice the Bullet so we make no noises while we're healing. So that way, in case the killer's tracking us kind of nearby somewhere, we'll at least be very quiet, so hopefully they won't actually come looking for us in the basement. And these are the 3 Sable ward builds, guys. I'm gonna hop into some games with them myself, but please give them a go. Let me know what you think of these builds. Comment down below if you love Sable. Smash the like button for the algorithm, etc., etc. Try these builds out for yourself. Let me know what you guys think, and I will see you guys on the next one.